Welcome back, YouTubers. This is a review of Figma number 445, Shinji and Sakura matou from Fate Stay Night Heaven's Feel. Now, I am not as big a fan of the Heaven's Feel version of the story. I was a bigger fan of Unlimited Blade Works. But these figures are pretty much interchangeable with any other part of the series, so it's not too big a deal. But let's get started. First with Sakura. As you can see, especially from the box back here, sides have a few shots of her and Shinji, but it's mostly just the same old that you see on every Figma box. She's got her arms pressed against her. These are the extra parts, as is her school bag here, and the two fused together clasped hands that come with her figure. She's also got on her alternate face, which, as you can see, is her depressed look when she's manically depressed, usually whenever she's around Shinji. Anyway, but there is her one happy face, which I'm a little disappointed about, because you'd think you'd give her a few more faces, as she's the main heroine of the Heaven's Feel chapters. Granted, they're not my favorite, but I don't see why they don't give Sakura a few more parts. Maybe her arms took up the budget on that one. But anyway, you can also take it off and she's just hanging there with her hands in front. And of course, these arms can be removed. If you're unsure on which arm is to go where, just look on the insides. The pocket line there, there's a line indentation there. So it tells you where to put these. And just pop off her arms, slide on the bendable ones. Now just work these slowly out when you're initially taking them off. You don't want to tear the pins. I've had that happen once before. Wasn't properly attached and the whole thing just tore right out. Or it was glued in by something. Kind of hard to say. But there's Sakura for you. She doesn't come with much in the way of parts otherwise. Her extra hands are about it. It does have these extra pins which you put into these to keep the holes open without them constricting, I think. I'm not really sure what they're for. And of course, there's always the extra stand part, which I've found I'm not using as much these days because they don't work as well for me. I find that these extension pieces just aren't as useful as just using the plain pinhole in the back. Now, she's got a pretty good skirt design. It's got the more soft material, though do keep this out of the sun. Her front doesn't have a visible joint with the same material, but her back has one just under the pinhole, as you can see here. She has a little bit of waist movement in the top, of course more around the waist, with her legs, as you can see. The only problem I see with this figure is that she's got a lot of little frilly bits here and in her hair that are possible damage points, so you're going to want to be careful with this one. Overall, it's a pretty good figure, lots of bendy parts, so you can put her in lots of positions. Her feet don't have any toe points like Shinji does, but, you know, they have to make some sacrifices because tiny feet probably. But let's get on to the next one. Now we have Shinji, the asshole of the series. Well, he does have his own issues, but the character is just a terrible human being just in general, which is probably why in 2 out of the 3 chapters he gets killed. Rather brutally, actually. As you can see, he's got a knife, which is one of his parts, the other being the Book of False Attendant, which is something unusual for him, as unlike Sakura, he has to use that in order to command a servant. It's got good leg balance, toe point, so you can bend those if you need to. He's got the joint in the front, unlike Sakura, but his back totally covered. So it's got some bendability there, but not as much as his hip point. I honestly am not entirely sure why that was added. He's got a good open gripping hand here for holding onto the book, so unless you bash it like I just did, it'll usually stay fairly firmly in one hand. See? We'll do it right that time. Yeah. See? And the knife's, you know, just a small knife. Actually kind of reminds me of other ones from other figures. I kind of wonder if it's a reprint. There's the optional angle part, but like I said, with these ones I don't think you really need it. His knee joints stick out a fair bit, but since, you know, you're probably going to be showing those from behind or angled, I don't think it'll be too big a problem with this one. Still, the knees are a bit of an annoyance with this figure, one of the few downsides to it. He's got your standard set of hands, more than Sakura's actually, which is the thing I don't get. A lot of people do not like Shinji. Don't know why he gets so many extra bits. He's also got 2 extra faces. You saw his clenched teeth angry. One there before. Then we have him with mildly ticked off, which is quite often. And then, of course, the one that's the one he has most commonly on, his smirking one. There we go. Yeah. And as you can see, his figure is fairly flexible. I think it's because you need to be able to move him around a bit if you're trying to get, like, for example, Sakura to replicate this motion, where he has his hand on her and threatens her with a knife. Though in this case, she'd have her depressed face on. But yeah. Let me just focus that in better. Yeah. Now she looks like she's insane because she's got a knife to her and she's smiling. Better fix that. One moment. There we go. Much more accurate to the visual novel. But yeah, that's the figure. Now, while I don't like Shinji at all, Sakura is at least a halfway decent character, if she would be more active, and in things like Fate Grand Order, her character has gotten some slight improvements with the application of the pseudo-servants that she becomes in those. But that's an entirely different story. Overall, if you're a fan of Fate Stay Night, this is definitely worth getting, though it can be a little pricey since it's a double pack, though you do get a slightly better deal than if you had bought them individually, though I do think they should have given us some more parts to go with it. Overall, I'd say it's definitely a plus, and if you are into Fate, get it. If not, well, different strokes for different folks. Otherwise, please like, subscribe, and comment on my Twitter below if you have any questions, and I'll see you all next time around. Ciao!